Can you hear me? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. All right. It's the Bring It Up radio show. It is a Tabernacles edition. It's family values. It's the Tabernacle. What's going on? I thought, man, listen. I'm excited. We got a live studio audience for the Tabernacle, for the Bring It Out radio show. Right? You know me. I'm the Chief Minister, Minister Shalimar, and I have with me the captain of captains. Captain Abwan, Baloya, one Yasharala. Got the baddest DJ in the land, DJ Baruch 4 and 1. You must understand. And it's the Bring It Out radio show that's designed to bring out the truth. According to the Bible, things that we're dealing with on a daily basis. We're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about it tonight. Those online, tell a friend to log in. I know somebody spread a rumor. They spread a nasty rumor that the show was canceled. But we're not going to cancel anything. Nothing's canceled. All right, we on. All praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. All right, so we're going to go into it. As you see on the side, I know everybody saw that show, Family Matters, right? It sure does, doesn't it? Family does matter. And we're going to talk about some family values. How much people here watch Game of Thrones? You watch Game of Thrones? Okay, a couple of cons in the room. What's the other show? House of the Dragons. Okay. I see a couple of strong cons. A lot of people still got to fast and pray. They got to watch that show. Well, they got to tell me about it because I haven't seen it myself. Right? But I hear that there's a lot of information on that show, and it shows the importance of legacy, family, the blood ties, and they matter. You know, the Most High, it's not by coincidence that our lineage and our spirit goes through our blood, right? And it's passed on from generation to generation to generation. That's not a coincidence. That's the Most High's design. And it's important that we recognize that in the spirit, right? What's that? I'm not on the camera. What? There we go. I'm on the camera. All right. So it's good that we recognize that design for the Most High, and that spirit. I would say that spiritual ties that we are all tied from because we are family, because we come from one family, and that's Israel and his 12 sons. Hallelujah. So we're all cousins in here, right? All of us are cousins, right? We said primo? Primo. That's what we say in Espanol. All right, primo. All right, we're cousins, primo, and we're going to operate in such manner, showing, that there's importance to this. It's important to understanding this. Because sometimes, we in this world, we're taught to be an individualite. Then we're the Most High calls us to a family. He calls us to a spiritual household. And now we are Israelites, all going back to one man, right? One blood. It was an old Judah Reed song, One Blood. You know that song? One blood every day, right? So we got that one blood, which is the blood of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That links us all together in the spirit. And we're going to go into some scriptures. We're going to have some discussions on how family matters. So first and foremost, we got to get the Most High's due. If you can, Colossians 3, verse 17. Big cat. For some reason, the YouTube ain't coming up on mine. So I'm just gonna rock on the live stream, on the StreamYard. There it is. All right, Colossians 3, verse 17. Let's go.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, and verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, Do all in the name of the other one, Yahushua. Thanks to the Father and the power by him.
Right. So we always give all praises to Yahweh in the name of the Mashiach Yahushua, who gave us the ability to be here, give us the energy, the strength, the wisdom, the guidance to be where we're supposed to be at the Tabernacles. So let's start with Jeremiah 4:2. Jeremiah 4:2. Let's look at that together. Let's read it together. Jeremiah 4:2. Shalom to all the family that's online, that's logged in.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 2.
Okay.
And thou shalt swear, Yahweh liveth in truth, in judgment, and in righteousness. And the nations will bless themselves in him. And in him shall they glory.
Right.
For thus saith Yahweh to the men of Judah and Jerusalem.
Come on.
Break up your fallow ground.
Right.
And so not among thorns.
Right. He said, break up your fallow ground and sow not amongst thorns. All right. So we got to think. It's going to be a thinking. All right. Now, fallow ground. What do you think that means? Or I know you got Google. You can just Google what fallow means. Right. Let's get the definition of fallow. Right? F-A-L-L-O-W. Let's get the definition. Somebody give me the definition of fallow ground. Who got it? Sword in hand. Who's quick on the trigger? All right, who's a shooter? All right. What you got? What you got? We get it.
Or to avoid surplus production.
Right. So, like, can you read it one more time? We got you turned up in the mic now.
Top. Fallow, a farmland, plowed and harrowed, but left unsown for a period in order to restore its fertility as part of a crop rotation.
Right. So if you have a fallow ground, that means you didn't touch the ground for a while. You let it rest. Right? That's a ground that's been resting. So that ground, while it's at that resting point, is getting everything it needs, right? So when you come back to that land, you're not over producing on that land. You're not stressing that land out. That land is in a sleeping state, right? So in the scripture, what you got?
The Hebrew definition.
Okay, let's get that too.
Hebrew word nayar, Hebrew, meaning tillable or untilled or fallow ground.
Right. Tillable or untilled, meaning waiting to be tilled, waiting to be corrected, waiting to be used, right? A lot of us, before we came to this truth, we were doing things in the world, but we were waiting to be used by the Most High. Maybe we thought we was into something, we were doing something, but our true purpose didn't come till someone came and broke up the fallow ground. Let's go back to the scripture. Somebody had to come up, a husbandman or what's called a farmer had to come and say, you know what, it's time for this ground here to be a sower of seed, had to come to this ground and say, it's time to break this ground up, right? So let's read it. Let's read that verse again, Jeremiah 4, verse 3.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, verse 3.
Come on.
For thus said Yahweh to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, and sow not among thorns.
And don't sow your seed amongst thorns. That means get the ground prepared. Right? They use what do they call that? What's we do farming? What they use to break up the ground? A tiller, right? A tiller, a plow, right? A what? Aerial. Okay, right. I'm not a farmer. I'm from the bricks, right? There's no breaking up the concrete. It ain't gonna give anything. In Brooklyn, all we had was concrete, right? So y'all gotta educate me. But I understand what the scripture said. So break up the fallow ground, right? Get it prepared, and don't sow your seed amongst thorns. What does that mean? What are thorns gonna do to your crops when they go to grow? Choke them up, destroy them. He said, don't sow your seed amongst thorns. That means get your ground prepared first, right? Clean up, get the plow out, weed out the stuff that don't belong in the land. Things were growing there while the land was resting. So if we're the land that was resting, what would represent a thorn? What would be a thorn that grew on you while you were resting? What is that? False doctrine, right? Give me one of those false doctrines. Christmas. What's that? Pagan holidays, right? Kind of God loves everybody, right? Or that anybody can be belong to the Most High. These are all thoughts, right? Thoughts and ideas and aspirations. These will choke the truth when it tries to grow. Because if you try to grow in this truth and you still thinking, I'm trying to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, right? I don't celebrate Christmas, but I'm in the holiday mood, right? Right? These things are going to choke you when that seed starts to grow and that tree of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding wants to grow. These things are going to hold you back, right? I see he got a precept, all right? That's why he's the captain of captains, right? Often imitated, never duplicated, right? The man with the plan, right? Go ahead.
The book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 18. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world.
And the what?
And the cares of this world.
Right, so when you sown amongst thorns, when your seed is sown amongst thorns, when there's the cares of this world in you, read on.
And the deceitfulness of riches and lust of other things entering in and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful.
And it becomes unfruitful. Now the law is a burden. Now the commandments are a problem. Why? Because it conflicts with your cares of this world. Right? So that's why we got instruction in Jeremiah 4. He said, listen, get the ground ready first. That's why when we go out to teach the word, the first thing we do is tear down the false philosophies so that we can have a nice, even ground to grow on. So we can have some good earth to sow seeds of righteousness. Because if we don't get rid of the thorns, they come back to choke you later on. When it doesn't happen right away. The truth sound good, you start saying, man, this truth look like it could go along with Rastafari, right? So he said, I was above or dread, and they say Israel, I say Israel. I don't want to let go of it, right? So it can grow with me. But then when you start to really get a little deeper into the word, you got to make a change, right? Maybe you was dealing with Islam. Maybe you was, FOI. Maybe you was bow ties and bead pies. Maybe that's what you was dealing with, right? But then when the word came and you had to grow your beard and take that bow tie off, but you love bow ties, right? Then it can choke you. Literally. Literally, right? So these are things that might have been sown in us, right? That when the word came and it started to grow and started to flourish, they came back to haunt you because it wasn't, your ground wasn't broken up. The fallow ground wasn't prepared. Let's go back to Jeremiah, because there's a lot to be said. We're gonna take Jeremiah from verses 2 to verse 8. All right, so what you got?
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 4.
Cut it.
Circumcise yourselves to Yahweh, and take away the foreskins of your heart.
Go ahead.
Ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like a fire, and burn that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings.
Right, so circumcise yourselves, right? Meaning that this is a work that we have to do for and with and among each other.
Right.
It says circumcise yourselves. It didn't say go get circumcised. It didn't say go see yeah, you rub you with the machete and get circumcised. Right? It said circumcise yourself. Right? That means it's a work that you have to do.
You know, if I could, when you look at a lot of our laws, especially the feast days, most I say make sure you proclaim them. You got to do this work yourself.
Right.
Because the Most High is not going to come down here from his throne and do it for you. He's not going to come up on the cornerstone and do it for you.
That's right.
So you got to put in the work and you got to do it yourself. You got to proclaim it yourself.
You're not by yourself.
Right.
You're not by yourself. The circumcision of ourselves is something that we work together to accomplish. Right? It's we'll see it as the next verse comes in. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem,
Go ahead.
and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land. Cry, gather together, and say, assemble yourselves, and let us go into the defense cities.
Right. So the key thing in this verse here is that we have to assemble yourselves. So it said in the previous verse, right, it let us know that we are to circumcise ourselves and assemble ourselves, right, before we enter, and then let us go into the defense cities. Then let us come together and put up a barrier, right? A defense city is a barrier. There's a, how could I say, garrison, even an older word, right? There's a gate, there's a border, right? There's a bounce at the door, right? Biafra's at the door. If your name is not on the list, you can't come in, right? And we have to put up those defenses, because if we allow too much free pass, too many spirits, right? That's why every year we say we got to rent the whole park, right? Why we say we got to rent the whole park for the Tabernacles? Because who you don't want in the tent next to you? He said other nations. I heard Esau. That's it. The other nations. Like, you know, I don't like that Moab, right? I do not want Moab in the park when we're in here, right? I mean, so we have to have our defenses up, or even our people that might be they might be like thinking they Moab. You know what I mean? Because we also have identity issue amongst our people and what they relate to. But when the high holy days come around, it's a set apart times where we set ourselves apart, right? You know, we're in the battlefield. We are going and reaping souls, but then there's a set apart time. And everyone should be in the same mind state. You know, they came out here to tabernacle, right? They didn't come out here to go to Lion Country Safari, although we might go there, right? But we all here to tabernacle, huh? Y'all came to tabernacle? We got that song going in a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's tabernacle. Tabernacle. Tabernacle what? Tabernacle. Tabernacle. All right, so, we are here at Tabernacle. We're here on the same accord, the same thought, the same mission. Our family that's logged in, some of them are here with us, some of them are not. We're looking forward to the day we all can be together. That's what we're reading about. So it says, declare in Judah and publish in Jerusalem. That means let it be known and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land. Cry, gather together, and say, assemble yourselves, and let us go into the defense city. So this is not just sending a text or an email or a put it in the chat, right? It says, cry, gather together. So we're to gather ourselves together and then cry out for Israel to gather together as well. Come down, come be a part, right? Take part in this. Yeah, I know it's a long drive. I know it's a long trip. I know it's a long flight, but make it down. It's the Tabernacles, right? Read on.
And let us go into the defense cities.
Read on.
Set up the standard toward Zion.
Right.
Retire, stay not. For I will bring evil from the north and great destruction.
And great destruction. The Most High said, I will bring evil from the north. So don't think somebody else is doing it when the evil comes. Yah said, I will bring evil from the north and great destruction. And that evil is talking about, lives being lost. That evil is talking about, just people getting cut off, in most gruesome ways sometimes, right? That's that evil that the Most High said he's going to bring from the north, right? But he said, set up the standard towards Zion. So what does that part of that verse mean? Set up the standard towards Zion. Let's talk about that part of the verse. Set up the standard towards Zion. What is a standard? Expectations. Okay. Okay, I like that. Expectations, huh? A criteria. Expectations, a criteria. Anybody else got anything? Benchmark. All right. A little bit more complicated, but I get where you're going with it. I want somebody to simplify it. Requirements, right? So we can even bring it all the way down to rules, right? What are the rules? It said set up rules, set up the standard, and make sure those standards are towards Zion. Which is what does Zion represent? Huh? Israel? The man? What does Zion represent? Is it a mound of dirt? What does it represent? Huh? What about that nation? Kingdom is getting closer. It is everything is the Most High. Are we just like throwing words out there now? Are we playing words with friends? Right? Are we just like tabernacles? Right? Right? Government, that's what I'm looking for. Government. Mount Zion is the government. It is a standard towards Zion, how things are supposed to be done. The criteria, like they said, the rules, the expectations, the standard on how we are to operate as a family in this family called Israel, right? Other families have rules, right? Israel, the family of Israel, also has a standard, and that standard is set towards Zion, towards our government, towards our commandments, right? Towards our righteousness. That's where the standard is set. What do you have there, Captain?
This is the word standard in the Hebrew, the word nas. Something lifted up. Standard, signal pole, ensign, banner, sign, and sail. Definition of the word standard.
Yeah, that's a tough name. All right. Put that in my name bank. That's a tough name. All right. Huh? That's a tough name. Give me all the definitions of it again.
The word standard in Hebrew, nas, something lifted up.
Something lifted up. So, that's beautiful, man. When you go into the Hebrew, it makes the word magnify so much harder, so much stronger. Because what are you supposed to do with rules? You're supposed to lift them up. You're supposed to make them known. How do we make rules known? By putting up what? Kind of easy. Signs, right? We don't put signs on the floor. Where do we put them? On the wall, where everybody can see them. Up high, where everybody can see them. You don't hide rules and laws. Rules and laws are made to be set up high. So the standard needs to be something, the Nas is something that's set up high and it's got to face and show the people to go towards Mount Zion, right? Or Zion, which is government, which is righteousness, right? So he's giving us a play-by-play from the time that the fallow ground has been broken up, right? The thorns have been taken out, right? Now he's telling us assemble ourselves together, circumcise ourselves, and the circumcision is also an interesting point because when something is circumcised, it's open to receive, right? It's not hardened. There's no barrier in between, meaning that it's open to change. It wants to hear. It wants to be changed. That's what a circumcised mind does. It feels, right? So that circumcised mind, right, can receive instruction. And once that instruction is received, it sets up a standard, right? It proclaims righteousness. It says ensign, banner, sign, sail, absolutely, all those things are synonyms, which brings, and when we read these things, it's not just to understand what the word is. We break down these scriptures so you can understand how to manifest this in your life. Ask yourself, am I setting up a standard? Where's my sign? Did I put my sign up? Am I circumcised? Right? Did I de-thorn myself? Do I have thorns that's going to hurt me as I go deeper into this word? Do I need to till my ground a little bit more? Right? So these are all things for you to apply it to your life. All right, so let's go back to the subject matter.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 6. Mm-hmm. Set up the standard towards Zion. Retire, stay not. I will bring evil from the north and great destruction.
Right, so stay not. Retire and stay not. Retire means, people retire, they stop doing something. Right? Whether they were, whatever industry they worked on, they stop doing it. They don't do that anymore. So we have to retire the things that we used to do. Right? And we can't, and it said to stay not. That means don't be stubborn. Don't be rebellious. Change. Be ready to change. I mean, we all had an identity before we came to the truth. I always say we got to bury that person in the yard. Right? You got to kill him or her, bury them in the yard, and check on it every once in a while to make sure he's still in the grave. Because it will get up, right? Read on.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 7. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. Mm-hmm. He has gone forth from his place to make the land desolate, and thy cities should be laid waste without inhabitant.
Right, so this is a threat from the Most High. Right? It said the lion has come up from the thicket. So who's the lion? Who's the destroyer? That's right. Yahweh Shai is mighty angels. They're the lion and the destroyer. Can I get a precept on that? Can I get Revelations 5 and 5?
5 times 5. The book of Revelation, chapter 5 and verse 5.
Go ahead.
And one of the elders said unto me, weep not, behold, the lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
Right, so he's a lion of the tribe of Judah, right? And he's gonna open that 7th seal, that last seal, right? So when he bring the drama will be completely brought, and there's nothing that no one can stand up against it. And what is he coming to do? Give me Revelations, where it says I come to make war, to judge and make war. What's that one? To judge and make war. What my scholars at? the top of my head.
The book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 11.
Okay.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse.
Uh-huh.
And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Come on.
And in righteousness,
read.
he doeth judge and make war.
Right, and in righteousness, he's going to judge and make war. He's going to bring a change about. And it's not going to be with voting or peaceful conversation. It's going to be a judgment, and it's going to be war, battle, right? You know, things are going to be changed in a harsh way, right? So let's go back to Jeremiah. We're at Jeremiah, I believe, 4 and 6. We're at 6, 7.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 7. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way.
Mm-hmm.
He has gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate,
Mm-hmm.
and thy cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant.
Come on.
For this gird you with sackcloth, and lament and howl.
Mm-hmm.
For the fierce anger of Yahweh is not turned back from us.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass at that day, saith Yahweh,
Come on.
that the heart of the king shall perish, and the heart of the princes, and the priests shall be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Then said I don't want.
Slakia, you read all of,
Yeah, verse 7.
you read 7 verse again?
Come.
Because there's something I wanted to.
Verse 7. The lion has come from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the destroyer of the Gentiles.
Come.
Yeah, fast. That's, you gotta like accentuate the destroyer of the Gentiles, right?
And the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way.
All right, the destroyer of the Gentiles.
Gotta go a little bunny cut.
Right, you gotta go buttercut on that there. The destroyer of the Gentiles. Right? Where's buttercut? Anyway. So the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. So you never hear this scripture in church. Right? They're not gonna read this one. Because it's too dramatic, it's too provocative, right? So the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. So we got to get right. You know, they got to gird themselves in sackcloth. They're gonna get wasted. We're not gonna get wasted. We've been wasted already. We've been there, done that, right? We know what it is to live in fear. Now it's time for us to rise because we're gathered. We're prepared for the coming of a Mashiach Yahushua. Hallelujah. And these feasts, these tabernacles, the next big feast, what's the next big feast? I want to say it's Hanukkah. It's got to be Hanukkah, right? You know, tabernacles, Hanukkah, Purim, you know, then we come back around to Passover. All these are opportunities for us to show ourselves dedicated, for us to assemble ourselves as it is written that we're to do. You know, these high holy days are us seeing, can we assemble ourselves, right? Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it takes some work, right? Sometimes it takes a little work. You know what I mean? You might want to sleep, you know what I mean? Somebody might want to have Kodak versus, what's that? Who would it be?
Kodak beats on Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy? Somebody might have Kodak versus Trick Daddy going on, and you try to sleep to go to work in the morning. To go to work in the morning. So we gotta learn how to work together. Right? We gotta make this decision quicker, right? So the reality of it is this assembling together, it takes work, right? We're gonna look around, we're gonna see what's great about us, and we're gonna learn, guess what? What's not so great about us, right? You know, you love this about this brother, and I don't like this about this brother here, right? And these things create an environment of family, because there's no family that they just love everything about everybody in the family. And I think that's never, even in the Family Matters show, there was conflict in the house. Steve would not leave Laura alone for, not an episode. So there's always conflict in the house, but that conflict is handled through repetition and practice and putting the time in what the Father told us to have ourselves occupied. Give me that, forsaking not the assembly. Okay. That's why you're, the Game of Thrones. That's why you're the, yeah. The Hanukkah opening on Shabbat? It's going to be a turn up. It'll be December 17th. It's going to be a turn up.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren.
I love it. Give me that. You know what word I want. Because we don't go around saying, you know what? I'm unfeigned. Right? How's your love? Is it unfeigned? So it's a word that we don't use on a daily. So when we come across words in Scripture that we don't use on a daily, then we have to find a synonym that we do use so we can understand what unfeigned means. So let's look at unfeigned.
Anipokritos in Greek, which is unfeigned, undisguised, sincere.
Beautiful. That word brings it all to the max. Sincerity. Unfeigned love is sincere love. Sincere, like when you say I love, you really do, right? You're looking for every benefit. What is one of the attributes of love? Right? Hold that and give me Romans 13 verse 10. Right? What's one of the main attributes of love? Right? Anyway, patience, kindness, affection. Who said affection? Oh, okay. Affection, right? Affection, that's another form of love. Let's read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
And this is the key, that whatever you're doing with your neighbor, with your fellow brother and sister, it's not to work ill towards that person. Right? Ill, when somebody is sick, they say they're ill. It's to hurt or to cause pain or cause problem. You're not doing it for that, with that intent. Because love is that worketh no ill to his neighbor, won't hurt or injure its neighbor in any way, shape, or form. Now, does that mean that the person will love everything you got to say? No, right? That doesn't mean at all. But the intention, right, of your interaction is to make things better. The intention of the interaction is to cause things to go the right way, right? So, and that's what they call no ill, right? No bad intention, no bad, no malice, no strife, no envy, none of those things that cause pain and problems. So let's go back. Yep.
That other word, undisguised, the thing that came to my mind is like, you can't love secretly.
Right.
The Most High, when He wants us to show Him love, we have to show it and apply actions. So that word unfeigned also meaning undisguised. You can't be saying you love somebody, but then you won't show it.
Right.
It has to be undisguised. It has to be known.
That's a beautiful point. That's he comes to us from the Treasure Coast. He's a top teacher. You can catch him on Saturdays. All right, breaking down the portion, for 3 to 4 hours. There's a lot of information to give you. Right? Right, but it's absolutely correct. You cannot love secretly. Right? If you really love, it's going to show. It's going to show in your actions, in your speech, your posture. And if it's not showing, then you can adjust yourself. You know what I mean? Remember, the scriptures say to retire from whatever you used to do. Right? You gotta like hand in your resignation papers for being a Negro, right? Here's my Negro reservation papers. I retired.
Don't even give it to me.
Not putting any more time in with the Negroism, right? That I used to be about, right? I retired and now Hebrew Israelite, so we hand it in. You retire from it. It's hard sometimes because those old spirits come back. You've been doing it so long, because they become habits, right? And those habits, they don't break easy. But the spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that ye love.
See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of Yahweh, which liveth and abideth forever.
So what has to happen for you to be born again? What has to happen in the order of things? What has to happen before you can be born again?
Something has to die.
There he goes again. That's why you got the referee shirt on. You got all the answers, right? Something has to die, right? For you to be born again, you have to die. If you're not willing to die, you cannot be born again. Because you can't live two lives at the same time. It's impossible, right? You can live one very messed up life, right? But you can't have two at the same time, right? You got to either be this person or that person, right? You can't be both people. Well, some people, they call them like schizophrenic. There's more than one person living in their head, right? But normally, we have to let go one to join ourselves to the other. So that former person, that person buried in the backyard, is the old person that died. You killed them, right? And this new person, this new creature, is born after the spirit of love, righteousness. All right, so we were, what scripture we was at? Peter's, then we went to. I was about to post scripture. I don't know what it was now. All right, so we'll continue. So this discussion tonight is about the assembling of ourselves together, right? What does it take? What is the attributes of this assembly? The scriptures is showing us that we gotta learn how to do this. We gotta learn one another. We gotta learn the standard has to be set so that we can pass the standard on. Because we got other generations. I posed that question on Shabbat, all right, about the Dano snap, right? And if everybody that was how old? 30 and older, if they Dano snapped and disappeared, how would things operate out there? Would there be a tabernacle next year? Right? You said, Kurt? How you know be tabernacles? Yeah. Okay. You gotta slide in there. Okay. I'll take it. I won't challenge it. Right? So 30 and older snap. We gotta make sure we set the standard for everyone below those ages. Right? It's on us that's 30 and over to set that standard. That the 20-something-year-olds and the teenagers know what to do and know how to do it and how to accomplish it. They're not going to figure it out by ignoring what we're doing. They need to be in the middle of what we're doing. Right? It's crucial that we set that standard. Right? If we don't do it, we do our children a disservice. Disservice. Thank you. I put two words together and make no sense. A disservice, right? We do our children a disservice if we don't set the standard, right? We don't gather the way we're supposed to gather, right? If we're bickering, they're gonna be fighting. Right? If we got a problem, they're gonna have schism. Whatever we do, they're gonna magnify it, right? Tenfold, right? If we a little bit messy, they're gonna be a lot of bit messy. They don't do things evenly. If you have any parents that grow children, they don't do things evenly. You do one thing wrong, and they will harp on that and let it go tenfold. Would you remember that time you did that? That's why I did these other 10 things, right? So we take that responsibility on as the leaders and elders, and and I use the word elder loosely, because 30, you're hardly an elder at 30, but you are at the age of responsible, right? Not just for yourself, but for those that are younger than you, right? What you holding there?
The book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 4. We will not hide them from our children, and showing to the generations to come the praises of showing to the generations to come the praises of thy one, and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, and he commanded our fathers that they shall make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which shall be born, who should arise and declare them to their children.
Right. So you see that's the the outcome, the snowball effect. Right. We establishing it, the testimony, we make it known to them, they'll make it known to theirs, and it will continue to grow and to get better and to get stronger in the sight of the Most High. We don't read that verse 7.
That they might set their hope in Yahweh,
right,
and not forget the works of Yahweh, but keep his commandments.
Right. So we want them to trust in the Most High. Right. We want our children to get that relationship, to know there's a Most High, there's a power, and to trust it. Right. This world tells us don't believe nothing you can't see. I don't believe it if I can't see it. Right. Well, that's retarded, right? Because you can't see nothing you ain't looking at. Right. So I don't believe it if I can't see it. Don't make any sense. The thing we've seen, there's so much in this earth that we have not seen. So you don't believe that it exists because you haven't seen it? No, we got to understand our knowledge expands beyond that. If we allow ourselves to be in the spirit, but the spirit is not held to the constraints of our body. It can teach us things of places we have not been. It can educate us in situations that we have not been in. Right? Because the spirit of wisdom already exists before time. It cometh with the Most High. He said when he was creating the earth, the spirit of wisdom was there. When the foundations were being laid, the mountains, before the mountains was laid, wisdom was there. Right? Right was there. So right always exists. We just have to be connoisseurs of right things. Right? Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 22.
Well, first read, I think, 8 and 1 to get the subject matter, I believe. It lets us know that this topic is wisdom.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 1. Do it not wisdom cry?
Right?
And understanding put forth her voice?
Right. So wisdom cries, and understanding puts forth her voice. When something is right, it'll come to you, it'll interrupt you, and it will be like an overtaking message. Right? Now let's jump down to the 22nd. So this whole chapter 8 is talking about wisdom. But let's look at verse 22.
Verse 22. The Other One possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, wherever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there was no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were settled, Before the hills was I brought forth, while as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the earth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave the sea his decree, that the water should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth, then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight.
And I was daily his delight, meaning that wisdom. So how is this even possible? How could wisdom be there before the problem was there? I thought the problem brought the solution. Right? The idea is that solutions were there even before the problem was there. Right? Even before the issue was, there was a right way of doing it. Right? We're used to reacting. Right? Something happens and then we do something. Something happens to us and then we react to what happens. But wisdom is an action, not a reaction. Right? Wisdom, if you're moving in wisdom, you don't have to react because you're already acting in the right spirit. You're already moving ahead of the game. So whatever, if you're moving in wisdom, everybody has to react to you because you're already moving in what you're doing. Right? So that mentality of using and applying wisdom to our lives prevents reactions. Right? Because a lot of times when we make mistakes, it's because we reacted. They said, well, that was my reaction. This happened and I reacted. Right? Something happened and you reacted. And then when you react, then you go back and go, man, well, that was my reaction. But if I was already in an action and unchanged, then I wouldn't react. Because I would already been doing the thing that needs to be done. Right? So it's important that you understand wisdom is first. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? All right, which came first, the chicken or the egg? All right, the chicken did. Right. That's such a dumb. That's one of those things where Esau try to play with your intelligence, right? Because you know that the chicken came out the egg, but the purpose of the egg is to reproduce the chicken. So if everything is moving in this purpose, if you understand the purpose of things, you would never have that question, right? It's a retarded question because the purpose of an egg is to recreate something. Right? So the understanding is that's wisdom. Wisdom is the principal factor, right? It comes first, right? Just DJ Baruch, about to turn out. You not ready yet? Okay, keep going. He's getting his technicals together. We're gonna party in a minute. All right, so let's get Zechariah. As a matter of fact, give me Joel. Give me Joel before the chapter. I was looking at something in Joel as well. There was some instruction there. I believe chapter 3, where it talks about us gathering ourselves and assembling ourselves. My computer keeps turning off. That's how live radio is. Things we go through technical difficulties. You got it? I was looking at something in the spirit. 3 what? 3 and 6? Okay.
The book of Joel, verse 15.
Okay, it was chapter 2. Yeah.
Chapter 2 and verse 15.
Matter of fact, yeah, 15. Yep.
Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sanctify a fast.
Come on.
Call a solemn assembly.
Read.
Gather the people. Sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders.
Go ahead.
Gather the children.
Let's go.
And those that suck the breast.
Let
the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet.
Right. So get everybody together. Sanctify a fast. Why do we sanctify a fast? What is the purpose of the fast? What's the purpose of the fast? Why do we sanctify the fast? Why do you fast? What's the purpose of the fast? Okay, what? Do I lose what? To loosen the bounds of wickedness. That guy's deep. I like that though. It's kind of deep. Huh?
To control the life right from one side.
So life right. So you don't go left.
Right.
I'm good when things go left.
Yeah, kind of. Right.
It's like a parable for a parable. Right? Why you fast? To get closer to the Most High. To get closer to the Most High. Because remember, when the disciples were with Hamashiach Yahushua, the Pharisees questioned them. He says, well, we fast often. Those which you don't fast. What did Yahushua tell them? What they fasting for? I'm standing right here. Yahushua like, well, who they fasting to? Right? So when we fast, it's to get closer to our other one, Hamashiach Yahushua. Right? Right? Our Lord, our head. Right? Which ultimately gets us closer to the Most High, Yahweh, the creator of all things. So the fasting brings us closer to our power. Right?
The book of Joel, chapter 2, and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore also now, saith Yahweh, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning.
Right. Turn to me. Right. So we turn to the Most High with fasting because it brings us closer to Him. When we subdue our flesh, right? We don't give our flesh what it wants. You know, one of the most primal needs of the flesh is food, right? When you're hungry, you feed yourself. And if the food is good, you feel good, right? And if the food is not too good, then I ain't, right? But if the food was busting, you know what I mean? Like those beef ribs, them joints was busting, right? When it's busting, you feeling good, you know. Sometimes you get that ice cream or something, you start to, how that chocolate ice cream make you feel? Right? You find yourself a little dancing a little bit when you got it, because you're feeling so good. Right? So that's a primal need of the body. And that primal need of the body, if you restrain, you're made up of two things, flesh and spirit. So if you refrain the flesh, then what are you more now? Spirit. Right? The more you refrain the flesh, is the more spiritual you become. One way of doing that is fasting. Or whatever the flesh requires, you hold back on that, it puts you more in the spirit. You're not giving yourself over to the desires of your flesh. Right? Which brings you closer to the Most High, because your spirit is tied to the Most High. Your flesh is tied to this world. There's a tug of war going on inside every one of us, right? The flesh and the spirit. And who you give yourself over to is who, right? Who is what you're going to be more like. You're going to be more fleshly or more spiritual. All right, so we fast to get closer to the Most High. So it says, proclaim the fast. Right, where am I at? Hey, did you move? Yeah.
Verse 16.
Okay.
Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber,
Right.
and the bride out of her closet.
Come on.
Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch.
Do what?
Weep between the porch and the altar.
Right.
And let them say, spare thy people, O Yahweh,
Right.
and give not thy heritage to reproach, that the heathen shall rule over them. Wherefore shall they say among the people, where is their power?
Right. So the priests and the ministers, they weep between the porch and the altar. Right. And all they ask for as they weep to the Most High is for mercy. It's for mercy and grace. That's it. Because at the end of the day, we can never say the Most High owes us anything. We didn't pay our debts with him. All we can call him for is mercy and grace, for forgiveness. The core roots of forgiveness, right? So that's what the minister and the priest was weeping for the nation, right? Because without that, we're done, because our greatest works is not adequate for the Most High, right? He said our righteousness is like filthy rags. So when we're doing good, it ain't even good in the eyes of the Most High. So all we can weep for and pray for between the porch and the altar is mercy, grace, and forgiveness. And this is something that we will expect. We will cry to the Most High for it, and we will be ready to receive it. And we also, if we're ready to receive it from the Most High, we should be ready to give it to one another. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Grace and mercy, right, and forgiveness is what brings us together. It's what keeps us together, right? Maybe the Lord brought us together because it's Tabernacles. Tabernacles. What is it? What is it? What? Who? When? I like it. Right? So they tabernacle minded in here. So tabernacles is what brought us here, but the mercy, the grace, and the forgiveness is what's going to keep us going, keep us growing, keep us enjoying, keep us pressing forward. If we can be merciful and gracious to us to lay down some tracks. As we're going to take a break, I'm going to turn it over to my DJ.
I yell myself and I already know the answer. Cause I need most people to debate rather than seek the scripture. You see, I be in my word, don't need YouTube to teach me. No, I be in my word, don't need no internet preaching. I can call on another name, but I never diss you. We can all come together, but first our mind gotta read. Hallelujah, reveal me the truth. You can't even cut a joke. Maybe count those so many names and the names they equal the devil. Have you asked myself why all these Jews can't even cut a joke? I be to myself. Cause most niggas want that.
Took me out of that. Could have been a drug head. Took me out of that. Could have been gone from a natural. Took me out of that. Could have been dead. Took me out of that. Could have been a reprobate. Took me out of that. Could have been stuck. Bad, yeah, took me out of that. Took me out of that. Didn't take me in the sense, it gave me some time. I done been a mountain, they gave me a choice. You can have it out, let it just use your voice. Let me tell you something, this is nothing even funny. You think you got another dummy, got another me. To carry on the vision and the cynicism, just to think I would worship with the cynicism. The one participating, you know, Satan infiltrating your spirit, and now he gotta let me let the light shine. Got from a natural youth, took me out of that. Could have been dead, took me out of that. Could have been a reprobate, took me out of that. Could have been stuck in my trap, took me out of that. Could have left me blind, but he brought me back. Yeah, he took me out of that, took me out of that. Got a whole lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm just a very old sinner. What's a vision if I'm not in the picture? Sacrifice, you don't know what you got yourself in. You think you paid a price for your soul? So the devil can't just hold you at a ransom.
Hey, Chief.
Bible for you just like that suckers for your counselor. If you got questions in your search, you
got
can find
kicked
the
out?
answer. Gotta make it.
You got kicked out? You're not on there?
I'm participating, you know, Satan infiltrating the spirit, and now he gotta let me let the light shine. God step up in the right time. Going in iniquity, took me out of that. Could have been on drugs, yeah, took me out of that. Yeah, been dead, took me out of that, out of that, out of that.
Cry in the ears of Jerusalem. Thus said the Most High, what iniquities the fathers found in me.
Got a question for my people. Do you really know love? You open up your eyes this morning, he woke you up. That's a blessing from the heavens, my people look up above. Appreciate creation, man, show the Father some love. And it feel like the Father reached out and gave us a hug. The Father so set apart, but put his hands in the mud. Like he done had enough. This time we going to hell, we at the end, let go the grub. No more slavery this time, souls gonna be burning up. Now you in hell forever, cause you ain't show no love. I say you know they my disciples when they love. How the ants could come together, but we can't, they bugs. Messiah laid his life down, he showed us what it was. He ain't throw that lady out, he showed us some love. Don't talk about your sister, Coney, go help her up. Go motivate your sister, she done been through enough. The truth that made us realize that we fight, we blood. The 12 tribes of Israel need to show each other love. With your fruits, you ain't gonna know what man by what he say, but what he do. Killing all the animals and killed the money. Love, what's love? What's love? Gotta keep them gunning me, cause I ain't so I got a good heart, but if it's stepped on like a rug, I would still show them love. Keeping these commandments is the way we show them love. Seeing this creation come together, real love. We was put here to show these nations who we were. I don't want to in the world, I chose you. Even though I do you in the mud, I roll you. Keep these laws and commandments, do what you supposed to. And that's love, love. Love, love, love. Calling by the way. Gotta give. Little mother.
That song is kind of depressing.
Make him get up and get down. 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 Might have been the truth. 50 clean rappers didn't make it get loose. Got to grab my way and move to the groove. Mama keep it honest, don't be moving your caboose. Boom. Break it down like I'm teaching legend right now. Guarantee that this can even make a veteran get down. When the bitches pulled up and this is special right now. Make the hell to lead it in the wheelchair, turn around like rock the fire. the middle. Always into the big running back. And have them begging for a replay.
Make them get up and get down, bro.
They calling me the truth. He's the one I need to prove. You can walk with faith and you can still be cool. That's why I keep the beam jumping like a moonlight rule. Shake it, like you got it, baby. Shake it, baby. Ain't no easy in it. But let the sweat drop. Old school, pocket lock, new school, middle rock. Big facts, real juice, bump the fake juice. You never invited to this dance, but you can bust the move. We gon' keep playing with massage till you get removed. And he ain't coming back until we get removed. Let him get up and get down. Let him get up and get down. Let him get up and get down. Let him dance like David did.
We talked a little bit if y'all put us at a high holy day,
no, I never seen him preach because I knew if he gonna tell anything, and I was just listening when he started preaching. But he said that he did have a second rib, and I told priest, because priest, he was like, he felt like everything should have been handled before he left. I said, this is a new problem because of the rib.
He ain't say that. I know we asked him that. I remember. I know I asked him something like that. I don't know what, but
I think I heard him say. I think he was like this guy, but I think it was a lady who was working for him, like cleaning the house.
yeah, like this.
Or something like that.
We gonna make it dance like that. Dance like this. We gonna make it dance like that.
Well, if you can dance like David, make it dance like David.
Yeah, I just want to.
Yeah, dance like David. I want how David dance. I want how David dance. How David dance for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I know you bought music for a reason. You know, it's fantastic, huh? The fantastic dance. All right, we're gonna make it dance like David. Maybe later, all right? So, continue with the show. I gotta say, what to my DJ Baruch. You got all the hits back there, all the Hebrew hits. You got it on lock. We're gonna be coming out with Baruch Goes Berserk. The show that is just 2 hours of DJ Baruch just spinning the hits. I'm LOZ partial, you know what I mean? So I can tell you, we hit some LOZ hits, right? But we did hear some good ones. I like that dance like David. That's the type of movie right there. So we're going to get into a verse. Let's take a look at Isaiah 45 and 17 as a family. Let's read it. Let's understand it. Let's digest it together. So Isaiah 45 verse 17.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel should be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation.
Yep.
You should not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end.
Read on.
For thus saith Yahweh that created the heavens. Yahweh himself hath formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am Yahweh, and there is none else.
Right.
I have not spoken in secret.
Right.
In a dark place of the earth.
Or
I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahweh, speak in righteousness. I declare things that are right.
That are what?
That are right.
All right. So he said, there is no secret passageway to the Most High. You don't need a decoder ring, right? You don't have to get the puzzle and break down. He's actually made it very simple. The biggest person you got to fight and overcome is yourself. So you don't got to go looking for your enemy. He's right there with you, right? So he said, I said nothing in secret, right? I said it up front. And I declared everything he declared to us, it is right. So we don't even have to judge the battle. All we got to do is read it, right? If you got a problem, if you're wondering if you did right or wrong, read it. It'll tell you. Sometimes we'll read it, it's clearly telling me I'm wrong, and then we're going to make some excuses. And there's excuses to then bring forth what? Being confounded and confused. Right? It didn't say that we will never be wrong. He said we won't be confounded or confused. Right? But the truth does, it takes away the confusion. Right and wrong, in or out, up or down. It's in black and white. You know what you did, what you didn't do. Right? Whether it's right or wrong. Go ahead.
Verse 19. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, Yahweh, speak in righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come. Draw near together.
Do what?
Draw near together.
Right, so we've been told to draw near together. We can't draw near by ourselves. We can't be individuals. Draw near together. Assemble yourselves and then come in. Come together and then come to the Most High. That's what's required. So that's why we put so much effort and force and energy into these high holy days, because these are opportunities to gather ourselves together and then come to the Most High. Right? That's why, we're going to bring it out tonight, and Jamar, is he doing Wednesday Wisdom? Huh? But I believe you're going to do Wednesday Wisdom. I hope he makes me into a prophet and not a false prophet. Right? So I believe there'll be Wednesday Wisdom tomorrow, and then Thursday, the men are going to be, it's going to be the men taking over. Right? They're going to have their class, and Friday we're back at the lab, back at base. Right? So these are opportunities. When do we get a chance to gather ourselves daily like this? Every day, right? See each other's faces every day. Feel each other's embraces every day. That's an opportunity. Because after this week is gone, we go back to the world. And when we see each other, I see you next Shabbat. Right? Some of us I get an opportunity to see each other in between. But for most of us, we see each other on Shabbat. And if you don't make the Shabbat, man, I ain't seen you in 2 weeks. You missed 2 Shabbats, man. It's been a month. Right? So these opportunities the Most High has given us to gather ourselves and come to Him. That's what we're going to do tonight, tomorrow night, last night, the following night. Right?
Draw near together, ye that are escaped of the nations. They have no knowledge. They set up the wood of their graven image, and pray unto a God that cannot save.
Right?
Tell ye and bring them near. Yea, let them take counsel together, who have declared this from ancient time. Who hath told it from that time? Hath not I, Yahweh? And there is no God else beside me. A just power and a Savior, there is none beside me.
There's what?
There is none beside me.
Notice I said there's no other way. When we think there's another way, there is no other way. Right? There's no other path. There's the path of righteousness. Right? We get on that path and that's it. We don't need to search no more. You're on the path of righteousness. That's it. All we got to do is perfect our walk. Go ahead.
Look unto me and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am Yahweh, and there is none else. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out from my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall swear.
Right? Every tongue shall swear. Meaning that everybody's going to know what you know at some point in time. The earth is going to know. Right? It's not just happening. Tabernacles is not just happening here. It's happening all around the earth. All around the earth, brothers and sisters, just like yourselves, are gathered for the tabernacle. We're all looking at the same sky. We all see the same moon. We all count the same days. Even if we haven't spoken to one another, we are unified in the spirit. Everybody understand that? Brothers and sisters, just like yourselves. Same thoughts, same issues, same, it's amazing how similar our lives are really, how similar we all are. This world wants us to believe that we're so, I'm gonna say unique, right? Nobody's nothing like us. Nobody's gone through what we've gone through. The mold hasn't been broken, right? Someone is going through what you've been through. Somebody is about to go through what you've been through. Can we get in that in Ecclesiastes? You know what I want, right? You know, so we got to remind ourselves that if anyone can get through it, you know, you can't, you know, whatever issues, whatever gives them problems, situations, you can get through because God is great. And nothing is new to him. It might be new to you, but it's not new to him. All right, let's read.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be.
Right.
And that which is done is that which shall be done.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no new thing under the sun.
I mean, the scriptures don't lie. Ain't nothing new. Nothing's new. That's why the wisdom is so strong. That's why the same book that was perplexing the people, and they were having a hard time following 1,000 years ago, perplexed us, and we got a hard time following it now. Because it's the same situations, right? It's the same. Times change, you know, right? But it's a cycle. Read on.
Verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Mm-hmm.
It hath been already of old time, which was before us.
Right.
There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, with those that shall come after.
All right. So when you come again, you're not going to remember, you know, Tabernacles. This is your opportunity for Tabernacles, was it 2022? Right? This is your opportunity. What you make of this is what you make of it. Right? So we have to make sure that we are, you know, seizing the moment, that we allowing this opportunity to show the Most High our dedication, that we're in the Spirit, that we love Him more than anything else, right? And that we're going to love each other through His influence and His Spirit and His doctrine and the wisdom that is given unto us. Right? I like to go to questions around the room at this point. We usually do something called, those that watch our show, we do closing thoughts, right? Right? We do closing thoughts. And we go around the room to closing thoughts of what we spoke about, talked about, ideas and thoughts, sparked revelations. It could be testimony. It could be anything that comes to your heart or your spirit. Who would like to start? I guess ASAP? Okay.
I just wanted to ask, when you was going over the attributes of love, is selflessness an attribute of love according to scriptures?
Yes. The short answer is yes. Right. But selflessness is it can be a catch-22. Because you can be so selfless that you're almost preventing yourself. You know, if anybody knows, like when you're on the airplane, what do they tell you on the airplane? If this cabin loses pressure and this thing drops, what do they tell you to do with it first? Put yours on first, right? Don't go fighting with hers and pass out and die, right? And then you don't get hers on and you don't get yours on, right? That's wisdom. The scriptures tell us about the Pharisees. They hold the key to the kingdom of heaven. They don't enter in, and they prevented others from entering also. So the reason why this comes to mind when you say selflessness, yes, you can look for the things of others, but make sure that you're building up yourself, right? Make sure that you're building on yourself as you look for things for others. You know what I mean? As you know that you're taking some time for yourself, right? So, does that make sense? All praise. Another question, comment, concern, testimony. The mic is open. This is the time what we call closing thoughts, closing ideas. Anything that we talked about, experienced so far at the tabernacle, right? So I see a hand in the back. Is that your hand, Isaiah? Isaiah has something to say. No? You just stretching? Oh, okay. Closing thoughts, ideas. While they're warming up, what say you, Cap?
I think it's very powerful for us to understand the importance of family ties.
Right.
When we look at Esau could be fighting each other, but at the end of the day, they're going to choose their family over us.
That's right.
And the other nations. They'll go to war for their own family.
Yeah.
We have a small degree of understanding of that. Amongst our tribes. If you Judah, I'm going to defend Judah.
Yeah.
If you Benjamin, I'm going to defend only Benjamin. But we got to really broaden that and really understand what it means to have this family ties.
Right.
Ancient times, we didn't play about, about brother.
Right.
So I just.
When that Hamite defiled our sister, right?
And Jacob's favorite son, Levi and Simeon, went in there. What? Don't get stoned at Tabernacles.
When they defiled our sister, right? The brothers sought to slaughter all of them. Do we still have that spirit though? You still got that spirit? Yeah. Because I would say, like the priest says, is that a K-N or a C-O-N? Right? Do we still have that spirit? You gotta ask yourself. This is what they call a rhetorical question. All right? Ask yourself, do we still have that spirit? Because they slaughtered all of them for defiling their system. Right? Their blood was upon them for defiling their system. Right? So, this society teaches something called the war of the sexes. Right? There's no war of the sexes in the scriptures. There's no conflict between who's supposed to sit where. Right? I mean, the Most High's standard is clear. And it's on high. Right? It's written about all around the Bible. People choose not to see it, that's on you. Right? But the standard is very clear. But that war on sexes breeds division in households, divisions in families, divisions in communities, right? Which is, our responsibility, right? We should have that spirit that they had about their sister Dinah for our sisters now, right? They should be, they should be able to go to war for them. Now we know, I understand that apprehension because of what we was taught in this world, right? What we see happening out there. But we gotta be set apart when we come in here. Everybody understand that? We gotta move in a set apart way, think in a set apart mind. Yeah, it's like out there, it's dog eat dog, everybody for himself. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't know why the scriptures tell us about the Good Samaritan, right? That's an example, another example in scripture where care and concern overweighs what the circumstances, right? The Good Samaritan sought care and concern, right? The priest walked by, right? Would that be trying to be by? I don't know. Oh, okay. The priest walked by. you won't take no accountability. You're going to slide, right? He walked by, so I don't know what his problem is, right? He kept it moving. He ain't no Levite anyway, right? But the reality of it is this: care and concern gave him the label of good. And good is a label that Yahweh wouldn't even take. He wouldn't even want that label, good. But that Samaritan got the label good because he understood care and concern is over all things, right? What happened to Dinah, it was, the care and concern, the dishonoring of their sister. And whether they was, like you said, whether they got along with her or not, that didn't matter at that moment, right? Esau can hate each other, but when we get in the mix, all of a sudden they're all working together in cahoots against us, right? We can have schism and issues, but if the other come around, are we gonna band together, come? right? Because we will handle ours, we'll deal with our family issues, but the outside ain't gonna come. They're not welcome, right? And that's how we move in the spirit of a family, right? The spirit of a family. I was expounding on your point, wasn't I? DJ Brew. Close it going. He said, lie. Talk with my hands, brother. All right, got you. Press the buttons. Any other closing thoughts and ideas before we close out and bring it out radio show? Thoughts, comments, ideas? Okay. Well, I thank everyone for coming out and being a live studio audience and allowing us to do the show in this fashion. Continue enjoying the Tabernacles, right? And in the most universal word in the Hebrew language, right? The one mostly used. I bid everyone for this evening. Who's that? Somebody got something? Who's that? Oh, you just thought about something? No. Are you waiting for me to almost close?
Well, today, we had the challenge for the rap, yes, and I want to say that we dwelt in brotherhood and sisterhood and got what we had to do and got it done. So
there's some fruits of this work?
Come.
Okay. All right. We're looking forward to hearing that. All right. Tomorrow? Okay, we're looking forward to hearing that. Tabernacle song was built today in the lab. I heard them going in. I heard the lyrics coming through the walls. That's family working together. Beautiful. So I guess since you stop the closing, I'm gonna ask again. Anybody got anything to say?
Hold on.
Man.
For me, it's been very not only edifying but blessed, but I got sick with COVID, tested negative today. The way the sisters and everybody was taking care of me and my children, it was like my kids are like being escorted and just a family. And they're like, we can stay here. Let me go. I'm very grateful for all of you guys for checking in.
All praise, hallelujah. That's a great testimony. You've done good. You've done good. Well, you've done good. All right. I appreciate it. Any other testimonies? Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap it. The Bring It Out radio show. Thanks for everyone participating in the show. Continue to enjoy this night. And in partings, I'm going to say, Shalom. Hey. Shout out to Brother JLB.